NOVAKORP, episode 3. Good lord. I might try to make these as frequent, or not as frequent, but try to keep to a schedule as possible in terms of uploading the episodes, so to speak. And, good lord. It's been interesting since the last time I did one of these. Overall, in terms of news and stuff, in terms of, like, things going on, overall, where should I'm trying to think of, like, best place to begin in everything. I guess overall, for those who've probably seen, quite a few of the current stuff in terms of politics and whatnot, things seem to have escalated and then may have gone down a little bit, depending on where you watch it on the news. Certain individuals are apparently getting sued on the internet for being kind of dirtbags, so to speak. And just overall, everybody just, in constant infighting between the different streaming and video services. And at this point, some people kind of being hypocritical in terms of how they deal with their own policies. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about, or at least I'm probably going to review some stuff. Maybe give some stuff about me for a bit, and then, go from there. Actually, before we begin, I do have a little bit of a nitpick, because recently, I will say, somebody that I know who follows my channel brought something to my attention, in terms of a comment or post that somebody made on a particular topic that I made. And I guess the genuine question is, why would people have to learn how to stop violent attacks from a particular animal? And yeah, I know in previous videos I have talked about this many times, but I mean, it's a question that's continually asked, and honestly, I think even if you have to ask the question at that point, then you don't really want any discourse. But as I said before, especially in terms of like different animals, so to speak, it's always good to learn their temperaments as well as understand ultimately what makes them tick. A lot of times it is important to, especially for those who are wanting to own a particular animal, to know what their characteristics are and how to manage it. And as I said before in previous times, in terms of this particular topic, I recognize that there are issues with the particular animal in discussion, but I'm not going to fully condemn them because I don't feel that is necessary. If anything, better policing in terms of, when a incident happens, or in a lot of cases, public exposure to, again, this particular animal can't be put into question. So, in terms of this question, why would people have to learn to stop a violent attack? I mean, again, considering the fact that they are completely ingrained into our society nowadays, it's always important to understand how the animal does behave. Instead of just outright condemning them or trying to, in a sense, ban them or expel them, which at this point, considering how much of the animal there is, that would destroy the ecosystem as we know it. But anyway, that's just me. Anyways, I guess to talk about real life news, talk about myself a little bit. things are going good. I am still doing driving for a particular store in terms of deliveries. And I gotta say, first, I'm gonna say this. In terms of like particular stores that sell like freaking $15 jewelry. You guys know which one I'm talking about, but I'm kind of beating around the bush. So, anyways, who the hell buys jewelry, like cheap jewelry, at these particular stores? I mean, seriously. Especially when there are situations where these individuals, like, if you go to a store and you're trying to get jewelry from, like, the jewelry department, so to speak, in this particular store, you almost wait 20 freaking minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, I would say. Just a rough estimate. Waiting for an associate to show up and more likely not even know where the product is or how to open it. I will say I did have that kind of experience with a particular customer, which cost me money, because by the end, when I couldn't get them their order, and they only had one other item, they end up removing their order from the trip. So that was fun. At least I was still at Walmart when they removed it, because then I could have just, take their item and take it back to customer service. But overall, that was not fun to deal with whatsoever. But all in all, besides that, my wife and I are doing good. We got our chickens are growing. Actually, recently we found out that one of our chickens is a rooster. So, and we're kind of, I want to say, with the good graces of our property manager, we were able to, in some respect, keep our chickens. But I've been continuously worried ever since we got them as chicks, that one of them would grow up to be a rooster. So, one of these days, what we need to do, or what we're going to try to do, is take the rooster and transport it to my wife's family's property, which has a bunch of chickens. So that's the plan. Sooner or later, we're going to end up doing that. But last thing we need is somebody complaining. But still got the dogs. They're doing good. As well as overall, just living life. Which a lot of people do, or at least a lot of people are doing. So, anyway, let's I'm gonna see if there's anything news-wise in terms of anime, video games, and more. I guess one thing to talk about, and by the way, I still need to continue My Hero Academia, but apparently, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, Anime Casts, Taku Yashiro, and apparently the official website for the television anime of Hideyoki Furuhashi and Betancourt's My Hero Academia Vigilantes, or Vigilante Boku no Hero Academia Illegals manga, revealed on Monday that Taku Yashiri is playing the Scarred Man, who apparently will appear in the 12th episode of Vigilantes. So, pretty cool. I still need to finish the first My Hero Academia, but I am looking forward to continuing it, because apparently it's supposed to be really good. Like, in terms of like the final season, it's supposed to be really, really damn good. Actually, a bit of video game news, and honestly, I was surprised to find out about this, and I end up, in a sense, I want to say horrifying our good buddy, MJ. about this, but Still Wakes the Deep, the horror game that me and her played for the podcast, is getting a DLC. So I am extremely looking forward to that. I want to play that at some point or another. But we will see. We will see. But I would say it does look good, and honestly, I was deeply amazed with the initial game. So who knows what we get to experience. From what I've heard, though, is apparently you play as a character who has some connection to one of the characters in the base game, Brody. Which, if I remember correctly, Brody was the guy that drowned himself in the oil rig. Or he wasn't able to escape and he drowned. He was like one of the last 3 survivors. So, not counting the one lady and your main character. So, all in all. Yeah, still Wakes in the Deep. I'm looking forward to that, and I think it was called Siren's Call, if I remember correctly. Or Siren Song, I can't remember. But either way, looking forward to that. I'm so looking forward to getting back to that world and just experiencing that whole, I want to say, HP, or that Lovecraftian horror that we got to experience with that game. So, anyway, I think it's about time we get into the review. And good lord. First, I want to say this. I want to say that it's interesting, or at least, I think, actually, no, better yet, it's important to mention that I end up playing the game, per the request of Aden and MJ, I end up playing the game beforehand with them, before I actually went and watched the show. So, Ace Attorney, also known as, and if I mispronounce this, I apologize, Gyakuten Saibon Sono Shinjitsu Agiari. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Apologize. But anyways, it is Ace Attorney, based on the popular game. For those who've never played the game before, it's a Capcom game. You play as an attorney who, is picked by a client. You go look for clues, and you basically defend them in court. I would say it was a game that had a lot of humor, a lot of in-jokes, a lot of, especially with a lot of the characters and their names. That was interesting. But we did have a lot of fun playing that game. We played through 1 through 3. Actually ended up playing some of the DLC stuff for that too. So that was great. And overall, in terms of the first 3 games, and with it being kind of like a continuing story, it was, again, a lot of fun to watch. But how was the show, though? The show itself, I want to say, continues with the humor. And overall, the experience itself is both I want to say both the same and a little bit different. A lot of the main story beats in terms of like cases is in there. The added benefit of it being an anime is there's quite a few moments where there is, I want to say, filler episodes where we get a little bit of backstory for the characters like Phoenix Wright and I am drawing a blank on his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. And I had notes, and I don't have my notes anymore. But Edgeworth. Anyways, yeah. So, backstory between Phoenix Wright and Edgeworth. And Larry. But either way, nobody cares about Larry. I'm sorry. But all in all, I will say some of the added episodes were great for the most part. There were certain things that I will say didn't make any sense. Like, in particular episodes of the anime, in various scenarios, certain characters were kind of swapped out, so to speak. Like, I remember there was one case where you had the character. There was a character with an afro. I cannot remember her name right now. It's been a very, very, very long time. But she was like the photographer. She would go around taking pictures of everything. And there was a couple points where her character was replaced with Larry. And he was taking pictures and taking part in the case. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why didn't you just keep her? I think her name was Lotta, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no. But her character was again replaced and removed for various episodes, and put for a stand-in had Larry, which I'm gonna say it made no sense whatsoever. It's like, why not just keep it close to the actual show or the game, so to speak? So I will say it would have been nice, like in terms of like the anime itself, to have at the very least a few other episodes that involved, let's say like the DLC or something like that. But we didn't really get that, which is kind of sad. But all in all, though, I had a good time watching it. And despite, certain, I want to say, at this point, I would say I would be a little bit nitpicking, but overall, despite my nitpicks, it was an interesting experience. Again, because I played the games, I absolutely enjoyed them. So, basically watching the anime itself, and kind of revisiting the characters that I kind of grew fond with in this game, it was great. And as an added bonus, there were a couple of episodes where they added more to the story, in terms of like some of the character development between Edgeworth and Phoenix Wright. So now the question is, the ultimate question is, what would I give this? And you know what? I want to say, man, I don't want to, because I feel like if I do this with every single one, because if I remember correctly, because I end up for the Hachin, or Michiko and Hachin, I think I gave it a download or watch it now. Screw it. I'm gonna give this a watch it now. Again, if you are a fan of the Ace Attorney games, you've never seen this anime, go watch it. You're gonna get just about, I want to say, close, but a little bit more of what you would experience from the game, but you get the added benefit with extra content through some of the other episodes. But all in all, again, with a little bit of nitpicking, it would have been nice to have like the DLC as a couple episodes. But anywho, okay. All in all, this was a lot of fun. A lot of fun indeed. And I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and end the video, or at least to end this episode. Depending on how you're watching it or listening to it, I mean, overall. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. And like I said before, I'm going to try to make this kind of develop my schedule a little bit better, so that way you guys get consistent episodes. For those who are watching or listening, however you're consuming this content. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you all for watching. Truly appreciate it. On the YouTube side of things, if you guys can, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on all of our socials, it's all in the description down below, as well as check out the daily content and the weekly podcast. As always, this is Rob, Novakast, signing off. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys. And yeah, see you guys next time.